Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, once again, double honors. Go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Green Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. Because as I always say, time is short. And it is. This is Naaman with the DC camp. And for those of you that are not aware, today the so-called Supreme Court of the United States, or Snakes of America, has ruled that affirmative action, as far as higher education, so they say, is concerned, is no longer valid. And we kept trying to tell you boneheads that this was going to happen. After all, none of this really was for our benefit. It seemed that way. These people, them folks, are good at illusion. All right? You see this Edomite bitch here? All right? Affirmative action actually benefited them the most. And one could argue the Skittles Nation. Now, it's amazing because the fact of who was pushing this woman right here, well, let's read the heading, white women benefit most from affirmative action. We've always known this, and for those of you that didn't, well, you know now. Way too late, but, you know. The willingness to erase white women from the story of affirmative action is part of the problem. Blah, 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 blah. This is her name, Jennifer Gratz, was one of the first to successfully argue against race and affirmative action. All right? So this is just mere hours ago that this happened. Something around, what was it, 3:47 when this story, this reported here, PM, I forget when the ruling exactly, I wasn't really paying that close attention to it. This is one of these things you just knew was inevitable, right? It says the Supreme Court on Thursday effectively ended affirmative action in higher education in a pair of cases concerning admissions policies at Harvard and the University of North Carolina. All right. It says the University of Texas Austin was Abigail Fisher's dream school. Fisher from Sugar Land, Texas, a wealthy Houston suburb, earned a 3.59 GPA in high school and scored an 1180 on the SATs. Again, these are things that are geared and set up to help them folks. This is not bad, but not enough for the highly selective UT Austin in fall of 2008. Fisher's dreams were dashed when she was denied admission. In response, Fisher sued. Her argument that applicants of color whose racial backgrounds were included as a component of the university's holistic review process were less qualified students and had displaced her. This white bitch is not the only one. See, we keep telling you people that all these nations hate us. It was also Moab that was making the same argument. That is because of us. All right, because they didn't make the cut. It was our fault. See, we keep telling you this. Read Psalms 83. None of these motherfuckers want us to become a nation again. All right? Students graduating in the top 10% of any Texas high school are granted an automatic spot at UT Austin. Other students are evaluated through a holistic review process, including a race-blind review of essays and creating a personal achievement score based on leadership potential. You have to understand, at the end of the day, all these other nations, especially the so-called white man who is of the nation of Edom, descendants of Jacob's brother Esau, it all boils down to envy. 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 Let's look that up because, let's see. All right, let's look at envy. Not jealousy. That too. But when it comes, you'll see, envy. Envy, a feeling of discontent and resentment aroused by and in conjunction with desire for the possessions or qualities of another. And what separates envy from jealousy? This means you're taking actions. And that's what they've done all along to our people. All these laws, all their actions as far as the lynchings, slavery in general. These were actions. Hey, you can be jealous of somebody, they got that car that you like, someone else in it down the street, and you say, damn, maybe one day I can, get that on my own or whatever, but you don't do anything to cause that person harm. That's where you cross the line and it becomes this. All right. It says desire to possess. What does it say? The possessions or qualities of another. Amalek. The so-called Sephardic imitators. Like the saying goes, what is it? Imitation is the best form of flattery. But what did they do in order to achieve that? You displaced someone else. All right. You caused harm to the object of your jealousy and envy, and hoping they would never find out, and took great pains to try to make that so. Now we're getting into envy. All right, since we've cleared it up, hopefully. All right, so this bitch here, and the thing about it, people like this, and then they want to close the door behind them. But like I said, it was also Moab. So let's go to this video here I'm about to roll. This is from African Diaspora News Channel. Brother Phil Scott. Another brother in the sense that he's a fellow Israelite, but, a Jake nonetheless, whether he's aware of it. And I have to assume by some of his videos, the way he talks, I think he knows. Him and a lot of others, at least to the extent that they do a lot of ear hustling. All right. And I'll get the definition of that, but let's go ahead and roll this video.
There's a Twitter account that I follow by the name of Ming Hung Lo. He's an Asian guy who speaks a lot of truth to power in regards to Black Americans. In this particular tweet,
remember, of all the people that should have gotten this, and I should say gotten it first, it should have been our people. But they throw things like this, I'm talking about them people that are over us, that oppress us, throw shit right in our face. And a lot of our people still don't get it. All right. You were never meant to be anything other than a slave here in America. All right. That's it. That's how this is structured. That's how this is to benefit everyone else but us. Gentrification should tell you that. These communities that they displace, once they get you out, then they build them and they become something totally new. And then them folks move in. All the while they could have done it while you're there. But they make it a point. And then whether you move way out in the case of the district here, DC, whether you move out in Maryland or Virginia, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Maryland, whatever. Or you remain close and you see all this, what could have been, but they make it a point to get your ass out and move them in, and everything's all fresh and new. And you're sitting there looking at it. What effect do you think that has? They don't give a fuck. This is the point. And you still think all things are equal. Yes, you have bootlicks amongst our people that actually think that, actually promote that. If you just work hard, you can, them folks. But anyway, let's continue on the video here.
He was talking about why is it that Asians have.
Now, again, this is an Asian man. I assume Moab, could be Ammon. Moab, of course, are modern day Chinese, and Ammon, modern day, what they call Japanese now. And you have all these subs that are mixed, when you got Indochina presently called Vietnam, you got Korea, you got Indonesia. But let's continue on.
Have hate crime bills, but black people do not. And specifically, he said this. Black Americans experience 10 times the hate crimes of Asians, despite only being 2 times the Asian population. The fact that we have anti-Asian hate crime legislation, while black Americans still do not, after centuries of putting up with violence from white people and now illegal Latinos, is asinine. Now he went up.
Remember, let's get another scripture. Something we continually, from time to time, we bring out. No one has experienced the things that we have. Although you have some people running around here, some of them Orthodox, in all black, and they spun that whole Holocaust thing, and to make them look like they are the people of the Most High, when in fact they're not. Others amongst even their own community have said in the past that this is how they do. They put themselves in positions, put themselves in certain circumstances as the ghetto, things of that nature. One was Benjamin Freeman, the late former Secretary of War, when it was called that. Now it's called the Department of Defense. All right. He told them, no, they're not the Israelites. All right. And that's the games that they play. They're Israelis, which just means they're occupiers of the land. They're not the ancient Israelites. No, we are. We are descendants of those people. But this is Edomite / white supremacy. Anyway, let's get on with, Daniel 9. It says Daniel's prayer for his people, not everyone. This is verse 12. It says, and he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us, against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. What's that great evil? All right. It's the nation of Edom in the modern day. All right. For under the whole heaven has not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. And these people have plagued us. Hey, you got to read Genesis chapter 25. Keep on going. It's that same spirit, Jacob and Esau. He sold that birthright. He thinks he's going to get it back. No, you're not getting it back. All right. It's like the Bible dictionary states, of all the neighbors of the Israelites, the Edomites, the Most High didn't promise them any mercy whatsoever, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. But they're going to do their 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, and then they're going to be exterminated from off the face of the earth, and rightfully so. They have deserved every bit of it. All right. Again, Daniel 9 and 12. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. Always considering and remembering that Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. All right. So let's go back.
About backing up his points by showing data from the FBI saying that, of course, black people are targeted by hate crimes more than anybody else in the country. And then he went on to put up a map of the black massacres that have taken place throughout the United States. And then lastly, he put up a copious amount of articles showing that black people are now being targeted by Latinos, immigrants even. One said how they have a negative opinion of black people. Well,
remember what I said about everybody hates us, all the nations are going to come against us? What is that proving? Questions like this, you've got to ask yourself. Just because someone else tells you something, or even writes it in their books, in real life, what is happening? You got what's chronicled, the actions of hate that are actually happening, but are minimalized. And every time every time somebody even looks at one of these Amalekites, these so-called Jews, the wrong way, that's how I think the last number I heard, they said it was 3,200 incidents of so-called anti-Semitism. And they said that's the most it's ever been. So now you're getting these call to actions from various other people. Well, we got to do something. Oh, wow, it's like, but this is prophecy. These are things that are bestowed upon us that we have to deal with. Those of us that understand and see what's going on. All right, because you got to remember, 2/3 of our people, they're already slated for destruction. All right, so here it is. This Asian man is saying, "Wait a minute." And he gathered some evidence. You notice how other people are seeing this, but a lot of our people don't, because they're so caught up in America and trying to make that dollar that's going by the wayside. But this Asian man, so-called, is putting all this evidence out there. Say, wait a minute, we got a hate crime bill, and these people have been here for how many centuries? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, but it does. Continuing on.
Well, if you ask me, that's really odd that you have a negative opinion of black people, since it's black people that are partially the reason that you're here. Now, what do I mean by that? Of course, we know that black people vote for Democrats more than any other political party.
And get
right?
nothing for it.
And so, with that, we have been voting for our own oppression and voting to help everybody else but us. And so, a lot of the immigrants are being brought into, or bused or flown in from Republican states to black areas in Democratic-led cities and states, right? Well, of course, we know in our neighborhoods, it's dilapidated, it's devoid of funding and resources and a whole host of other things. And time after time, year after year, politicians say, oh yeah, we're going to get you that youth center. Oh yeah, we're going to improve the schools, or we're going to bring some jobs into your neighborhood, but they never do. And then when they're pressed about it, it's like, oh, well, we're trying to find the funding, right? But all of a sudden, immigrants show up, and it's like, oh, we got all these millions and billions of dollars that we can allocate to help them. So, again, yes, we need a hate crime bill that specifically speaks about protecting us, but the other part of that is we need to think long and hard about who we are voting for.
See, this is the reason why you shouldn't depend on man. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 31. Isaiah chapter 30 and 31, all right, provides history on that. Instead of seeking the Most High, whose name, by the way, is Yahweh, and his son, his name is Yahweh Shai, instead of seeking help from on high, what do? You go to the people that hate you, and have continued to prove and provide, all right, the evidence of that continually, not every now and then, but continually, for hundreds of years, and you still think somehow and foolishly that they're going to also turn around. Let's go and all of a sudden be good to you when all the evidence points to the contrary. There's a Lamentations 4. Distress of the siege described, all right? And this is one of these, Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, It never changes. This is cyclical with us. As for us, verse 17, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Not only could not, but will not. Why? Because it's not in their best interest to do so. Because, aside from knowing with at least the elites, and trust me, a few others have learned, especially as of late, who we really are. It's not in their best interest to do so. All right? Remember, throughout our history, wherever we were as captives, we made that nation great. We're the ones that made this piece of shit place, America, great. And they want to make it great again? How did they do it the first time? Like, duh. A little bit more.
Before we go into the poll, because we know Joe Biden, he is the one that gave the Asians the anti-hate crime bill, but nothing for us. Even though when he was elected, he says, black people, you stood by me, I'm going to stand by you. And he hasn't thought about black people since. Like he hasn't.
Again, empty promises that our people keep falling for. If you're this stupid, and I use the example of Stalin's chicken. Let's go to, this is what our people have become when it comes to America. As in Joseph Stalin, the former leader of Russia. Let's see. Yeah. Whether it was real or not, the point, you'll understand it when I read it. Lessons of the plucked chicken. Let's go to Bible.org. These are the people. It's a prime example. Our people. Lesson of the plucked chicken. It says, during those final days of the collapsing Marxist experiment in the Soviet Union, Soviet novelist Chingyang Aitmatov retold the following story. On one occasion, so it was narrated, Stalin called for a live chicken and proceeded to use it to make an unforgettable point before some of his henchmen. Forcefully clutching the chicken in one hand, with the other he began to systematically pluck out its feathers. As the chicken struggled in vain to escape, he continued with a painful denuding until the bird was completely stripped. Which has been what? Done to us, symbolically, right? Now you watch, Stalin said as he placed the chicken on the floor, all right, and walked away with some breadcrumbs in his hand. Incredibly, the fear-crazed chicken hobbled toward him and clung to the legs of his trousers. Stalin threw a handful of grain to the bird, and it began to follow him around the room. He turned to his dumbfounded colleagues and said quietly, "This is the way to rule the people. Did you see how that chicken followed me for food, even though I had caused it such torture?" People, specifically our people, are like that chicken. If you inflict inordinate pain on them, they will follow you for food the rest of their lives. Think of the comment that Lyndon Baines Johnson made about our people voting Democrat for hundreds of years. He said, I will have them niggers voting Democrat for, was it 200 or 300 years? See, We are just a means to an end here. Continuing on with video.
So I agree with the Asian gentleman. We are targeted the most. We need a hate crime bill. And yes, now we are seeing the Latinos feel a certain type of way about black.
Who are our people, by the way? All right, those are the northern tribes of Israel. So you see, you got things happening here. It's a reason why they keep. It's a game. These, again, Salaki, division. This is what they're doing. All right, you're busing in these people who are our brothers. All right, and they're causing that animosity.
Like people like they have for a long time, and I want to say this is not all, but it is enough. It's not new that they felt a certain type of way about black people, but now they are bold about it because, they are whooping us as far as population is concerned. They are really populating the United States, and they're getting into positions of power, whether it's politics, whether it's the police force, whether it's the courts, and they're, owning and operating their own businesses, and they're even at the helm of education. So that's what Dr. Claude Anderson told us to do. He told us to practice group economics so that we will not be a permanent underclass and now subservient in a certain type of way to everyone else. So y'all tell me what you think of this. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Dimitri.
There you go. And I didn't do it beforehand, but let me do it now. I have to bring this out. What? No longer available? Oh, what game are they playing now? What I had done is had the copyright disclaimer, so I could just go right to it. Wow. YouTube. Huh. Ain't that a... Wow. So what are they saying here? That's what I gotta look into this after I finish here. What the hell? Let's see. Here it is. I think this... Hold on. Here it is. Nope. Dang it. Wrong one. Maybe this is it. Wow. I didn't know that they... Nope. Shit. What the hell? The hell? Oh, see? It's no longer available. Huh. What the hell? Salaki. Let's see. Oh, man. Let's try this one. What the hell's going on? That is not a good omen. Let's see. All right, here's what I have to do. Sorry it took so long. It's weird. Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research, which all of the above apply here. Fair use is also permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, so I'm making no profit from this. This is just for use as a teaching tool. All right, because this is somebody else's work, and I want to acknowledge that. All right, maybe I'll just have to copy this shit. All of a sudden, this page will disappear. But in any case, that's my point, and I hope whoever views this, of course, is edified. Wasted 2 or 3 minutes there looking for what. Anyway, never mind. So, yeah, this is what we've been trying to tell our people. We're trying to all along. There's no future for us here. This was never meant. We bring up scriptures like Micah 2 and 10, Hebrews chapter 11, verses 14 and 15, Hebrews chapter 13, verses 14. This is temporary. This is the way it should be treated. 2 Peter 3 and 10 and 11. All right. This is the mindset that you should be in. That pilgrim's mindset. Do what you got to do until that time comes. In the meantime, get your mind right. Get your house in order. Because, hey, the hammer's about to fall here. So until the next video, hey, shalom.